Sometimes I wonder why developers create amazing things and then just hide them inside the game. Is that a mistake? Well, I don't think so. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. Today, I'm going to show you the 10 most brilliant Easter eggs in gaming history, starting with something simple in Red Dead Redemption 2. It's really something simple, but in the end, you'll understand that Rockstar isn't here to mess around. You've probably already noticed these statues around the city of St. Denis. And like many objects in the game, when you shoot at a statue, it breaks. However, only this specific statue, when you shoot at it, it may not seem like a big deal, but I'm sure a lot of people watching the video have already noticed after you shoot at it. It looks a lot like the Venus de Milo statue, one of the most famous statues from ancient Greece. It's like Rockstar telling other developers, "Oh, you put a 30-year-old reference in your game. That's cool. Let me put a 2,000-year-old reference in my game that almost nobody will understand." Help me, someone? Well, moving on to the next one. Now things are starting to get more serious, Mono. In 9th place, we have a secret in the Dead Space remake called the Secret Sea Shanty. This game already has some other famous Easter eggs, but the one I'm going to show you now is the most brilliant and was only added in the remake version of the game. As soon as you get access to the full bridge area, you can find this break room on the 3rd floor. In it, there's an image marked in a strange circle in the middle of the room. Most players simply enter the room, look at the floor, then turn their backs and leave. What they don't know is that there's a puzzle to solve that will make you feel like a genius. Man, it's not impossible to do, but I'm not going to lie and say it's easy. It's also one of those Easter eggs that seems like it just won't work at all. But what you have to do is simply look at the circle and you'll see some symbols. You'll notice that there are some feet and some hands there in a random sequence. So you're going to follow that order, punching for the hands and stomping for the feet, kind of like those cheat codes you used to do in Grand Theft Auto, you know? If you do the correct sequence, starting from the top, you get an audio log that contains a creepy sea shanty about Ishimura music. In 8th place, we have the game Batman Arkham City. The Calendar Man's secret is a really weird name, right, man? This Easter egg is already a classic, but it's so good that I have to mention it here again. In the game, you can find Calendar Man locked in a cell under the courthouse. He will have different lines depending on when you talk to him, and for a while, players thought they had discovered all of these lines. However, one particular player insisted that something was missing. And after more than 3 years, this player finally found what he was looking for. If you talk to this Calendar Man on the developer's founding day, he will have a final message for you. Quite enigmatic. The reason why it took so long to be discovered is that it's not enough for it to just be on the developer's anniversary. It really has to be on the exact day it was founded, back in 2004. And as everyone here knows, or at least I think everyone knows this, there's no way to go back in time. However, if you're on a computer, you can change your clock back to 2004, the exact year the company was founded. So if you do that, if you set your computer back to 2004, then when you enter the game, you'll find Calendar Man and he'll say,
"I was there at your beginning, and I will be there at your end. You..."
Pretty creepy, right, man? And then you think, well, cool, that's it, right? No, that's not it. When you complete 100% of the Arkham City sequence, Batman initiates the Twilight Protocol. This triggers the true ending of the game, where a crowd watches as Bruce Wayne, whose secret identity has been exposed, returns to Wayne Manor. And if you look closely at the crowd, you can see Calendar Man's bald head in the audience. It's something you might miss if you blink, but he's there. That's an absurd level of detail that makes the Arkham series one of the best trilogies of all time. Well, in 7th place, we have an Easter egg from a game that everyone here on the channel already knows, which is Call of Duty, Bondi, Black Ops 2. This Easter egg happens on the Nuketown map, which has had several versions, but the version we're going to talk about is Nuketown 2025. Specifically, the Black Ops 2 version I'm sure everyone here has already played on this map, and it's no surprise to anyone that this map almost always has some kind of Easter egg. 99.9.9.9. At least all the Easter eggs on this map that I know of. You have to shoot the mannequins' heads until you get a reward, and it's exactly this reward on this map that's something genius. If you do everything right, you'll be able to interact with this television and play. You get a selection of Activision Atari games, and you even get a pixel art hand holding the Atari controller. That's really genius, man, because if you stop to think about it, they're not such fun games nowadays. But it makes us remember Activision's long history in the gaming industry. And if you do this Easter egg and then hand the controller to your dad or someone who has played Atari before, that person will definitely get emotional. If you're looking for cultural references to classic movies, you probably wouldn't think of Borderlands, right? The game is full of fun memes, but for sure, a long reference to a classic movie is pretty unexpected, to say the least. In a distant corner, in Stanton's Lever, you can find this monolith in the middle of a crater. In most games, the reference would end there, but like I told you at the beginning, this is a video about brilliant Easter eggs, so it couldn't just stop there. The transitions themselves are directly from the movie, and they transport you to the White Room, where there's no bed, but there are paintings. You go past the monolith again, and after that, you get a scene that's identical to the movie. Obviously, after seeing all this, anyone can tell that this wasn't just an ordinary Easter egg. The developers went way beyond what you'd expect for an Easter egg like this. In 5th place, we have the Hoverboard from Dying Light 2. This game has a lot of Easter eggs, but this one is everyone's favorite, and you'll find out why now. It's a bit of a complicated Easter egg to unlock, but in the end, it's really worth it. This Easter egg starts at St. Thomas Church, and you begin by connecting power to a panel inside the bell tower. Once that's done, you interact with a radio, which is actually another Easter egg, because the two guys on the radio are Fatum and Tolga from the first game, and as soon as they finish talking, a hoverboard appears nearby. If you follow the red trail that will show up, it will lead you to a few more hoverboards, and then, after a few steps, if you follow everything correctly, you'll be able to do one of the coolest and most satisfying things in the game. In 4th place is Hi-Fi Rush and the Xenogears Easter egg. Once again, a strange name, right? But Hi-Fi Rush is a game that already comes with several references and various Easter eggs. All of this in a fast and intense way. And some of these things are pretty obscure. Honestly, the best Easter eggs in the game are completely hidden, like the case of Xenogears in Track 10. Just to give you some context, Xenogears is a PlayStation 1 role-playing game from 1998. And it's known for two things: being inspired by the anime Evangelion, and at a certain point the story. It simply stops. Instead of things progressing as usual, you're bombarded with cutscenes and strange characters, and everything happens in a very empty way. And what's strange is that Hi-Fi Rush, a game from 2023 for some reason, makes a joke about all this. In Track 10, it's not clear if it was because the developers ran out of time, or maybe, as a joke, they show us the story unfolding exactly the same way it happened in Xenogears. A really dark emptiness. And it's not just a reference to the PlayStation 1 game, it's a reference to a very specific part of it. For those who have played this game, it's a hilarious reference, but for those who have never even heard of it, they're completely lost and don't understand anything. In 3rd place, we have Hitman 2 with the Tomb Raider secret in the final mission of Hitman 2. There's a guy named Nathaniel Blake, a treasure hunter who we can say is a reference to Uncharted. But obviously, it doesn't stop there. Well, first, you have to get this guy's clothes. Then you need to find a butler up in the tower and make him follow you to the castle's freezer. That way, you can lock him inside. In Tomb Raider 2, locking the butler up is already an old tradition. Even in Hitman 2, when you put this butler in there, he says that's exactly what happened to his cousin Winston, making a direct reference to the character from Tomb Raider. And no, that's not all yet. With the butler locked up, you unlock a new way to escape the map. A classic dive in Tomb Raider water style. And in our 2nd place, we have Tunic and the Second Language. Man, this one is crazy, dude. Tunic is a game all about secrets, and one of those secrets is the language of the world, known as Hunas. They are pretty obvious, but the thing is that it takes a lot of time and effort to fully decipher them. You don't need to learn much to finish the game, and also, after finishing the big secret of the Golden Path, there's not much reason to keep learning. But, as you might expect, there's a much bigger secret in the game that, even now, hasn't been fully understood. That's because actually there's a second language in the game, known as Tunis. It might seem like all the characters are just speaking gibberish in Tunic, but that's not true. They speak a series of notes that can be transcribed and translated. For example, when one of the bells rings, the sounds they make can actually be translated as jing and dong. Seriously, it's not just the characters talking or some sound effects. To give you an idea, the language is even hidden in the music. So the question is, why go through all that trouble? Maybe it's just to make it seem like they're a bunch of geniuses, and to be honest, they really do seem pretty smart for having done something on this level. And finally, at number 1, the Portopia mystery in Metal Gear Solid 5. Well, every Easter egg I see that has something related to sound always seems pretty genius to me. The way many developers manage to convey so much data through sound is something that seems magical. One of the most mysterious and obscure Easter eggs in Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid 5 has to do with K7 tapes. One is a tape called Classified Intelligence Data, which has a series of loud, shrill noises. And the other is a tape called Operation Intrude N303, and it's shown at the end of the game. And believe it or not, it's not just a tape player, it's an MSX, to the console on which the first game, Metal Gear, was released, and the first mission of that game, Operation Intrude N303. So, the tape literally contains the first game, Metal Gear. People somehow managed to translate the sound data and turn it into code for the first tape, and it was revealed to be the data for a game called Portopia Serialized Murder Case. A game that Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear, said was a major inspiration for him to get into game design. It's a pretty obscure reference that certain Metal Gear conspiracy enthusiasts interpret in various ways. Well, if you like this video, leave your like and drop a comment telling me what your favorite Easter egg is. Man, anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to get more videos like this. After all, I'm posting videos every week. Thanks. Bye.